Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master, where the past comes alive in your pocket change and every coin could hold a secret worth millions. If you've ever thought that dimes were just small coins barely worth mentioning, today's episode is about to change your perspective forever. We're diving deep into the story of a seemingly ordinary coin that has become one of the most mysterious and jaw-dropping rarities in U.S. coin collecting history, the 1980 Roosevelt one dime. That's right. The tiny 10-cent piece minted in Denver that has been reportedly valued at an unbelievable $9 million. A coin whose value doesn't come from gold or silver, but from the powerful combination of historical errors, minting anomalies, and sheer scarcity. So if you've ever looked at a coin and wondered if it might be worth more than what it says on its face, stick around. You won't believe what makes this little coin so valuable. Let's set the stage. The year is 1980. America is heading into a new decade with shifting economic policies, changing technologies, and an evolving minting process that reflected these transformations. The U.S. Mint in Denver was running at full speed to meet the nation's coinage demand. Among the many coins struck that year was the Roosevelt dime, a coin that had been in production since 1946 and showed no signs of becoming anything more than pocket change. But in the chaos of mass production, a few dimes slipped through the cracks. These weren't just any coins. These were errors, misstrikes, and anomalies that went undetected, uncorrected, and eventually became the stuff of legends. The 1980 dime became more than just a coin. It became a symbol of what happens when rarity meets mystery. This specific dime, now valued at an eye-watering $9 million, is believed to be one of the rarest error coins ever discovered from the modern minting era. And the story only gets more fascinating from here. To understand how such a small coin can hold such enormous value, we need to explore what makes error coins so significant to collectors and historians. In the coin collecting world, an error isn't just a mistake, it's a window into the mint's history, a fingerprint of a moment that can never be exactly replicated. Every minting error tells a story of misaligned dies, of overlooked quality checks, of transitional years where the mint experimented with new materials or techniques. And the 1980 dime checks several of these boxes. All at once. Let's break down the anatomy of this legendary coin. First, there's the mint mark. On most 1980 dimes, the D, indicating the Denver Mint, is cleanly and clearly struck on the obverse, just above the date. But the $1 million version shows inconsistencies that are baffling to even the most seasoned numismatists. Some versions of the 1980 error dime have what collectors describe as a ghost mint mark, where the D appears blurred, misplaced, doubled, or even partially absent. In rare instances, the mint mark seems to float unnaturally or sit off-center, suggesting it was applied improperly, possibly due to die deterioration or human error in the minting process. Now combine that with other features. Several known specimens exhibit what's called a double die obverse, a condition where the die used to strike the front of the coin was misaligned, causing a slight but noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and date. In the case of this dime, that doubling gives the appearance of layered inscriptions, like a ghostly shadow trailing each letter. The phrase, "In God We Trust," and the year, 1980, may appear thickened or distorted. This is one of the most sought-after types of minting errors, especially when it occurs in combination with other anomalies. Next, let's consider the metal composition. Most Roosevelt dimes minted after 1965 are made from a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. But coin experts believe that a microscopic error in the alloy mixing process might have occurred with this rare 1980 specimen. Some advanced tests reportedly indicated a slight deviation in weight or metallic consistency, suggesting the possibility of an experimental planchet or a transitional metal composition error. If true, this would make the coin even more rare, as it would represent not only a design error but also a metallurgical one, a kind of double whammy that sends collectors into a frenzy. And then there's the striking process itself. Experts who have examined the rare 1980 dime point out subtle imperfections in the edge reading, the small vertical lines around the edge of the coin. On normal dimes, these lines are uniformly spaced and cleanly cut. But on the $1 million specimen, they appear uneven, with some areas more deeply grooved than others. This suggests a flawed striking process, possibly due to worn dies or misaligned machinery. Add all these elements together, the mint mark error, the double die obverse, the potential composition anomaly, and the edge reading flaw, and you have a perfect storm of numismatic rarity. But what makes this coin leap from being valuable to being worth $9 million is something even more powerful than its physical properties: its story, its provenance, and its market mythology. The tale of the 1980 $9 million dime first hit the mainstream numismatic world in hushed whispers. A private collector reportedly purchased the coin in a sealed auction for an undisclosed amount. Over time, rumors circulated that the price paid was upwards of several million, later verified through insider channels to be around $9 million. Though the identity of the buyer remains confidential, many believe the coin is now housed in a private collection alongside other legendary rarities such as the 1943 copper penny and the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. But why would anyone pay $9 million for a dime? The answer lies in a combination of factors that go far beyond the coin itself. First is the principle of rarity. There may only be one or two verified specimens of this particular era, and none in perfect mint state condition. In the world of collectibles, rarity drives demand, and demand drives price. Second is the principle of provenance. A coin with a confirmed history, verified ownership, publicized auction record, and expert authentication becomes more than a coin. It becomes a historical artifact, an investment, a statement. Then there's the intangible quality of mystery. The 1980 dime has never been fully explained. The U.S. Mint has never released an official statement on the errors associated with this coin. No technician has stepped forward to take responsibility. No records have surfaced to prove how many, if any, similar coins were ever minted. And in the vacuum of official information, legend thrives. Collectors love a good mystery. And they're willing to pay for it. Especially when that mystery is backed by tangible anomalies, physical errors, and the thrill of owning something no one else can. It's not just a coin. It's a one-of-a-kind mistake that will never be recreated. That makes it a treasure. Let's explore a bit more about the history of Roosevelt dimes, and why even common dimes can become rare. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had died the previous year. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime replaced the Mercury dime and became the standard for U.S. 10-cent coins. Over the decades, the design remained largely unchanged, but the minting process evolved. Die production became more precise, quality control increased, and mints were automated to a higher degree. That's what makes modern minting errors, like the 1980 D, so rare. In a time of increasing precision, any flaw becomes an anomaly worth noting. What's even more fascinating is that coins like the 1980 D dime often go unnoticed for years. Many of them pass through the hands of millions of people before landing in the right place, under the right eyes. In the case of the $1 million dime, it was reportedly discovered in a collection of pocket change inherited from a grandparent. A grandson was simply sorting through old coins one rainy afternoon when he noticed something unusual about the dime. What he held in his hand was a tiny fortune, and he had no idea. It was only after submitting the coin for grading and expert evaluation that the true nature of the error was discovered. When the final report came back, confirming multiple overlapping minting errors and possible metallurgical anomalies, the value skyrocketed. What had once been just 10 cents became a coin worthy of history books and documentaries. But how can you tell if you have a valuable error dime? What should you look for in your change? Start with the basics. Examine the mint mark. Is it clearly struck, or does it appear doubled, misaligned, or faded? Look at the lettering. Are there any signs of doubling, stretching, or distortion? Use a magnifying glass to inspect the date and phrases like Liberty and In God We Trust. Compare these to standard examples from 1980. Next, weigh the coin on a digital scale. A normal dime should weigh 2.27 grams. Any deviation could point to a planchet error or metal variation. Also, observe the coin's edges. Are the reeds uniform? Are they deeper or shallower than usual? All of these clues can help point you toward a potentially valuable error. Of course, true authentication must be done by professionals. If you suspect you have a rare error coin, your next step should be to send it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations use advanced tools and experienced eyes to determine the authenticity, grade, and potential market value of rare coins. Without certification, even a genuine error may not fetch its full worth. Now let's talk about the role of the collector market. Prices in numismaty. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and mysterious stories in American numismatics. We're going to explore a small coin with an extraordinary value, a 2000p Roosevelt dime, a coin you may have handled without a second thought. But under certain rare and unique circumstances, this very coin could be worth up to $3 million. That's right, a single dime, with a face value of just 10 cents, could be hiding in plain sight in your pocket change, quietly holding the potential to change your life. So get ready to journey deep into the story of this legendary coin, understand what makes it so special, and discover the types of minting errors and anomalies that can turn common currency into a priceless treasure. Let's begin with something familiar: the Roosevelt dime. Introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had died the previous year. The coin has since become a staple of American currency, used every day, rarely noticed, and even more rarely examined closely. But among the billions produced, there are hidden gems, coins struck with errors, anomalies, or rare conditions that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. The 2000p dime is one of those unexpected rarities. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of these dimes, but a handful, possibly fewer than 10, are known to exhibit unique minting errors that transform them from ordinary change into multimillion-dollar rarities. So what exactly happened during the minting of the 2000p Roosevelt dime that makes it so valuable? That's the mystery we're about to unravel. First, we need to understand how coins are made and what can go wrong in that process. Every U.S. coin is produced through a series of carefully controlled steps involving blank metal discs called planchets, dies that strike the design into the metal, and presses that apply enormous pressure to create the final coin. In theory, this process should result in flawless coins. But when things go wrong, even slightly, the results can be dramatic. In the case of the 2000p dime, a number of errors have been identified that contribute to its astronomical value. These include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, and even missing mint marks or oddly positioned mint marks. Each of these errors on its own can significantly increase a coin's value, but when combined, especially in extremely rare and pristine specimens, the result can be a coin so rare and so unique that collectors are willing to pay millions. Let's start with one of the most visually striking errors: the off-center strike. In a normal coin, the design is perfectly centered on the planchet. But sometimes, due to misalignment of the dies, the coin is struck off-center, leaving parts of the design missing or pushed toward the edge. This is a fairly common error, but when it occurs on a coin as recent as 2000 and in mint state condition, especially with a perfect surface and brilliant luster, it becomes much rarer. Some 2000p dimes have been found with significant off-center strikes, making them highly desirable. Another error that affects the 2000p dime is the broad strike. This occurs when the collar die, which helps shape the coin's edge and keep the metal in place, is missing or malfunctioning. As a result, the coin is struck without the usual rim, creating a coin that is larger and flatter than normal, with soft or missing edge details. Broad-struck 2000p dimes are incredibly scarce, and when combined with other errors, their value multiplies exponentially. Double die errors are another source of great interest for collectors. These occur when the die itself is engraved incorrectly, usually due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process. As a result, parts of the coin's design appear doubled. You might see doubled letters in Liberty, or in the date, or even in Roosevelt's profile. Some 2000p dimes show strong evidence of doubling, particularly in the date and the motto, "In God We Trust," making them stand out as significant rarities. These errors are among the most sought after in the numismatic world, because they are the result of a flaw in the die itself, meaning every coin struck with that die carries the error. Then there are the wrong planchet errors. This type of error happens when a coin is struck on a metal blank intended for a different denomination. Imagine a dime struck on a penny planchet, or even on a foreign coin planchet. These kinds of errors are not just rare, they are spectacularly rare. A few 2000p dimes have surfaced over the years that appear to have been struck on experimental or foreign planchets, and their uniqueness makes them essentially one of a kind. In auctions, these coins command incredible prices, often exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, nearing or surpassing the $3 million mark. Another key factor in the extraordinary value of the 2000p dime is the condition of the coin. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin in worn, circulated condition might be worth only a few dollars, even with a minor error. But a coin in uncirculated, mint state, especially one graded MS-67 or higher by a professional grading service, can be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions. The known examples of high-value 2000p dimes tend to be in exceptional condition, with sharp details, full strikes, and original luster that looks as fresh as the day they were minted. But perhaps the most mysterious and intriguing aspect of the 2000p dime is the unusual mint mark anomalies. The P mint mark, indicating the Philadelphia Mint, is normally located on the obverse of the coin, near the date. But some specimens show doubling in the mint mark, or mint marks that appear misplaced or unusually shaped. There have even been unconfirmed reports of 2000 dimes without any mint mark at all, something that should not be possible for a coin of that year, since all dimes minted in 2000 were supposed to carry a P or D mark. The absence of a mint mark could indicate an extraordinary minting mistake, one that would make the coin even more valuable than a normal error. A coin with such an anomaly would be considered an extraordinary mint error, and could easily be worth 7 figures. Another important dimension in evaluating the worth of a coin like the 2000p dime is its rarity. Not just how rare the error is, but how rare the combination of errors, condition, and historical context is. Coin experts believe that only a few dozen truly exceptional 2000p dimes exist. Of those, maybe only a handful show the kind of spectacular errors and mint state preservation that could justify a $3 million valuation. That makes these coins not just rare, but almost mythical. They are the holy grails of modern coin collecting, whispered about in forums, hunted by collectors, and treasured by the few who have been lucky enough to find them. In recent years, the coin collecting world has seen a surge in interest in error coins and modern rarities. Television shows, online auctions, and YouTube channels have all played a role in raising awareness about these hidden treasures. Stories of coins found in pocket change or passed down through generations that turned out to be worth small fortunes have inspired millions to take a closer look at their change. And the 2000p dime is one of the stars of this movement, a coin that perfectly captures the thrill of the hunt and the joy of discovery.